Om Shanti. Pita Shri Prajapita Brahma Baba's Life History, Part 37. Title: 4 Lives in One. I took 4 births in this very life, writes Sister Sundarji. One was the common birth which everyone experiences. After that, my parents brought me up. I grew older and got married. This I consider my second birth, because for a girl, marriage means a break with the old life. There are new ties. The house, atmosphere, duties, everything changes. The carefree days of girlhood, of independence and purity come to an end. And a submissive life full of worries and responsibilities begins. She has to give up so much. Ordinarily, every woman passes through these 2 births, but in addition to these 2, I passed through 2 other births. First, I was reborn into the godly knowledge. Shiv Baba became my only attachment then. I have nobody else except God. In order to maintain this feeling, like a faithful wife, I kept only Baba, my supreme husband, in my remembrance. This dying of old impression and sanskars, the inculcation of purity and virtue, and a new way of relating to men was very, very difficult. The world had still to be lived in, and yet totally forgotten. This is no small achievement. It is called, with good reason, the living death. Sanskars, hardened after many lives, had now to be rooted out of the soul in 1 second. Yes, the difficulty was considerable, but the tremendous feeling of cleanliness, of holiness, made it all worthwhile. Every Brahman experiences this life of spiritual happiness, but the 4th birth that I took, hardly anyone has such an experience. It was literally a divine experience. God, the bestower of a clear intellect, the creator of divine vision, thrust me into a future existence in the golden age. One day, Shiv Baba simply told us to remain in our room for a few days, to eat only fruit and milk, not to speak to anyone, and to remain constantly in powerful yoga. I was quite happy to do just that, since the bliss of meditation was my greatest joy. So, I sat and faced the sun of knowledge, and I blossomed like a sunflower. I had nothing to do but remember God. He became my entire life. All my own sanskars merged in this remembrance. I became oblivious of this world. I was alive, but I totally forgot my name, my age, my form. I no longer recognized other people. There was only God, and then the transformation happened. I experienced myself as a little girl in a divine royal family of the future golden age world. I understood the language there, which was completely different from any which now exists. I was a soul of exquisite purity. I did not even know the meaning of desire. Anger and greed were incomprehensible. Such extreme purity emanated from every soul in that world. My eyes were the same, but the mind through which the soul was seeing had changed. During this period, I saw everyone with divine vision. God, the knower of the 3 aspects of time, gave me for a short time the power to see my sisters and brothers of the Yajna in the future forms in the deity kingdom. I knew their names and their status. When they asked me who I was, I told them my divine name, revealing that I was a princess of the future world, and I told them my residence and age. I informed them who the king was and told them about the kingdom. When people asked about themselves, I described the form which was revealed to me. Whether they were princes, maids, or friends, for a month and a half, I retained this consciousness. During that time, I ate very little, just like the divine princess whom I had become. I took only 2 or 3 spoonfuls of milk per day. All were wondering how I could survive with such little food. But I did. During those days, my worldly relatives had come to meet me, but I could not recognize any one of them. When this role of the play was over for me, for many days after that, I did not remember my own name or the names of any relatives or other Brahmins. They had to teach me all over again about myself and the present life. Eventually, my memory returned. As the effect of the extended divine vision gradually wore off, I fully regained my connection with this present form. When they told me that for a month and a half I had been a royal princess, I could not recall a single thought, or even imagine what I had seen. I only knew that for some time I had been lost somewhere. Where I had been, I did not know. This I consider to be my 4th and strangest life, which I had lived for a short time through the divine power of the Supreme Father. Because of this, a new change came into my life. After taking 4 births, after living so long in the pure atmosphere of Madhuban, I was not prepared for the hellish world which still existed outside its gates. It was so strange, this world of body-conscious people. I saw too cleverly the confusion and sorrow in their faces. Sitting in the train, I watched the world pass by and realized how polluted and despoiled it had become. I wanted only to return to Baba's lap. It is not better, I wondered, to stay in the yagya and not to experience this impurity? But I knew we had to go to serve. A poet once wrote, "O God, see to what condition this world is reduced. You have made the sun, the moon, the sky, and they remain as ever. With the man you have created, see what he is, how changed, how strange he has become. He has sold his self-respect for a little pleasure. Now deceit is all he knows. The devotees of Ram and the followers of Abraham wrap themselves in cloaks of pretense. How blind they have become. Their black tricks have sucked the life from India. Bharat is a cemetery. O God, see to what extent the human being has changed. If we had not quarreled among ourselves, if we had not fought wars, then this beautiful play of divine creation would not be in ruins today. If we had not quarreled, so many thousands would not be homeless, and so many children would not be orphans. O God, see how much the human being has changed. O God, see what has happened to your lovely creation. What sort of men have we become?" Next title, Completing the Sacrifice. The Brahma Kumaris were now on the move, traveling to different states and countries on missions of divine service. On one occasion, an individual who was impressed by the lessons he had received tried to give one of the sisters a roll of money. She refused it. "According to the command of God," she told him, "we cannot accept an outsider's money. First, you must make an effort to be pure." The man was amazed. Who refuses money? The sadhus accept it quickly enough. The Swamis never turn it down. The more he thought about this, the more baffled he became. Their minds are really unattached, he concluded. They have completed the sacrifice. These are very high souls. He was impressed by the pure life of these sisters in white. When he returned to his home in Ahmedabad, he wrote a letter of thanks and also sent an invitation to the sister to come to Ahmedabad. In response to that invitation, Dadi Prakash Maniji went there and taught the knowledge. Soon, BK's Didi Manmohini and sister Rukmini went to Khandala on invitations from friends and relatives, and on the way back, they drew up a complete godly service program. BK Dadi's Santri, Sati and Prakashamani and brothers Anand Kishore and Chandrahas went on invitation to Calcutta. BK Dadi's Manoharindra and Ganga were invited to Delhi, while Dadi Kamal Sundari was called to Pune. Thus, the children spread to the north, west, south and east. After 14 years of preparation, the spiritual army made its spearhead drive into the world, and the experience was wonderful. Om Shanti.